Hello, and welcome back to formerly Cheyenne, Wyoming Urban Gardener, and is now Missouri Crooked Barn Homestead. Apologize that it has been a while since you've heard from me. This is Debbie, and we have been so busy with fixing up the homestead. And remember the last time in some videos when I was showing you the barn, I said there was a lot of work that needed to be done on the barn, and we've got all that work pretty much completed. We're still got some things to do, but the barn is now fixed up, shored up. We got some boards fixed. I know you can see a little bit between boards. We're still working on some of the siding, things like that on the barn. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to maybe get some metal siding on this barn. We got the hay manger, I guess you want to say, or holder. I'm not really sure. We got that all cleaned out. It had a bunch of old moldy hay in it. We just finished that out. We just used the old moldy hay, honestly, as mulch going on the walkway in the barn. And then we got some fresh wheat straw, several bales of that. And we just went ahead and fixed all of the stalls with wheat straw. And we are ready for animals to start arriving. This is the new surprise. Lots of new animals that are arriving. We've got 3 goats, or actually 4 goats. There'll be 3 does and a buckling. We have La Mancha coming, and Nigerian dwarves, and a boer, and another Nigerian dwarf that are all coming. So we're going to have 1 buckling and 3 does, and then we have 6 piglets coming. They're about 5 months old. Well, 4 of them are 5 months old, and the other ones are coonies. So we have Durocs coming and coonies. The Durocs are actually piglets, and the coonies coming are a couple of years old. So we have a boar of the cooney, and then we have a couple of sows. But one of the sows is older, so we'll just be letting her finish out her life. She is an older sow. She has not been able to have any piglets, so that is what tells us that she's a little bit older. So she's just going to enjoy her life just being a pet. So we've got this cleaned up, and then we have a bunch of chickens that arrived. We've got almost 100 chickens at this point. We had some Buff Orpingtons and Barred Rocks and Cinnamon Queens and a whole bunch of different chickens that came to join us here. And we've got some Muscovy ducks that are coming, and I think Cayuga ducks that are coming. And we have a couple of barn cats coming, and we have a livestock guardian dog that's also going to be joining us. That is a half Pyrenees, half Newfoundland. And we'll be enjoying doing some training with her. She is a puppy still. She's about a year old, so I still consider her a puppy. And we'll be working on her, giving her some training. So we have 3 stalls here in the barn, and we've been working on this all day as well. And we had chicken wire installed above the open spaces. You can see that in the barn, so that way we don't have the goats jump out of the stalls. There's still a couple of areas that they can jump out of, and we're working on that. Not real sure what to put there. Maybe just some wood slats, something to just keep them in. And then we had to shore up a couple of places that had some boards missing at the bottoms here, so we had to get those fixed up. My daughter and I, we just finished that. And we had to get innovative with some stuff because there were some weird shapes where there used to be a hay manger here, and that was apparently removed, and it left some holes in the barn. So I have a grandson in here who's walking around right now and is getting in the way, so I had to send him back out. So those were removed, and we had to basically cover up the holes there. And then we had the boar over here, the big Duroc boar that we have, that's 600 pounds. We had him over in this section, and he had done a little bit of some rooting. So we had to put some straw down just to fix that. And we actually ended up finding out that underneath this straw is some mats. I think utility mats. Probably had went in a utility trailer or a stock trailer or something like that. So this floor actually has a bunch of mats on it. And I'm not sure if there was any underneath here. Probably not, since he was able to dig pretty deep. But a couple of the stalls had a lot of mats in them, and we just left the mats in, and we put the straw over the top, so that'll help quite a bit. You can see one of the mats poking up right over there, and that one is a huge mat, and it goes probably 5-7 feet. And then there's another mat over here in this section. So we had to put some boards along the bottom over there. We'll probably have to put another board, and then we just basically shored up all of these areas. And we had to reset our door here. The door got taken off by the big boar, so we had to put that back on. And then we had some fencing. You can see we've got a piece of fence here that we had worked on. And we ended up with a whole bunch of rabbits, meat rabbits. So we've got a whole bunch of rabbits in here, but we're probably going to end up selling these guys or giving them away, because we were not planning on any rabbits, but that kind of ended up happening, and they're really pretty. One of them's a nice big rabbit, and I just would rather that they not be in these big cages like this. I mean, the cages are pretty large, but I prefer rabbits to not be in something like this. And this is what we had that came with them, so I think they need to be pets somewhere. This one is actually a chocolate brown color. Her name is Hershey. So we're going to look at placing these rabbits. Basically what happened is there was a lady that I had been talking with for a while, and I told her I was trying to establish a homestead, and she was renting property, and that property fell through. So she had to end up rehoming all of her animals, and I took them in. So, and they came with 10 bunnies. These are babies. And this was the litter of that rabbit I just showed you. So we split them 5 into one side of a cage and 5 into another. And we got them some different water arrangements and food. And then I'm giving them Timothy hay, and they're getting all kinds of little treats and snacks. But we'll look at getting these guys placed as soon as possible. They're very, very cute. Very friendly little guys. We're only going to keep one of them, I think, and we're going to try to find something better as far as them to be in. But it's a pretty large cage, but I just would rather that they not be in cages, but we'll see. We'll find out. And this is the big boar over here, and of course he's made a big mess. So, and he's eating right now. And that is our 600-pound Duroc boar. And we've had an interesting time trying to keep water into him and food into him, because he makes these huge messes. So you can see the other side, not so bad. This side, bad. So we've been trying to work with him. He is just so huge that he can do some stuff pretty quickly. But that is him. He's sweet. You can actually rub his belly and talk to him and everything, and he just is a big boy. And we got him this it's a sheep trough, actually, and it's pretty heavy, and that's able to hold him. So we feed him there. He gets 6 large scoops morning and night, so he has been maintaining his weight very well. And we're just trying to get this stuff cleaned up, because we just finished his pasture. We actually gave him pasture, and most of it has hog panel on it. So we just finished all of that up. You can see we got a new gate in here. This is actually one of the old gates we repurposed. So we've got a whole big new gate here, and it's got some pretty serious pins on it. So he'll have that here. And we've got some heavy duty gauge wire, and we will have some electric wire backup that we'll be installing very soon. So we've got all of this in. These are 6-foot T-posts with 4-foot welded wire, and goes all the way down to the bottom. And we have it secured with 9-gauge wire that goes around the T-posts. So we have all of that going on, and then we have hog panels along the back where the wood is. And then we doubled the fence on the back side, so way over there. We've got the fence doubled over, and let me walk into the area and I'll show you what we've got going on here. And sorry if it's a little bouncy. I'm still working on getting something established for a tripod or something. So we ended up using all of our hog panels we had stacked over here. We found 2 more windows that had went on the barn that we had need to get fixed. So we found those in one of the hay mangers and a couple other things. So we have this pasture goes all the way over to here. And in some places we have the welded wire doubled over. So you can see it goes all along here, all the way to the back over there. And let me walk down here and you can see the hog panels. It's not a super large area, but for a hog, it is huge. And now you can see this is actually hog wire. So we have all of that here. And you can see there's a barbed wire on the other side of it. Some people call it cattle wire, but it's really heavy duty stuff. And then we will be putting a electric backup in it. And then we had to have a bunch of posts sawed off, and we sawed off what we could. But unfortunately, there's a couple of them still left because they had concrete at the base as well as concrete poured down the middle of them. So that became an issue. We couldn't get them sawed off right now. So we'll be working on that in the near future. We found that we have a whole lot of mulberry trees on the property. So I've been picking mulberries. And so some of these are mulberry trees. And some of them are Osage orange trees. And we put some pretty serious posts in. So you can see all of that through there. So hopefully this will hold the hog in. If we have a weakness in the system, we'll figure out what it is. Once he's in this area, we haven't turned him into the area yet. I'm waiting for my partner to get home. And then we will do that. He's back in Cheyenne right now, packing up the rest of our stuff. And he'll be home tomorrow evening. This is Saturday. And he will be home tomorrow evening at some point. So we have all of this area for the hog. And actually all 6 hogs. So as I was saying, the Durocs are, the rest of them I'm getting are a lot smaller than Plunger, the 600-pounder. So they won't put as much of an impact on this area as you would think. We're also going to, and I know this is controversial, but we're going to ring their noses because that will prevent them from rooting quite a bit and preserve a lot of this area and also prevent them from tearing up their stalls in the barn. So that will help out greatly. We've also found that we have quite a lot of walnut trees on the property, crab apples, and all kinds of other fruiting trees. We found raspberry vines, and we've also found blackberry vines. And we've got 2 wells that we've mentioned previously. So we definitely had to get this wire up to prevent the animals from getting down to the wells. We're also, in the next few weeks, going to go ahead and have the guy that put all of these in, we're going to hire him to come back again. And he is going to install another section of fence that's going to give us another good 2 acres of pasture. And then we're just going to continue from there. Every little bit we'll have him come out and put another stretch of fence. And we will have this separated into multiple different pastures, and we will rotationally graze. And the hogs are going to help us with compost and things like that to go on the garden. And so there is a lot of progress that's being made and lots of things that are planned for the future, things that have already been done, and that's what we have been accomplishing. So it's been a very, very busy from 5 o'clock in the morning until sometimes past midnight every night, working on all these things. As I had mentioned, my garden was behind because of all the projects that we had, but I have gotten the garden in, and I will show you that in just a few moments. Now this section is going to be our goat pasture. So ignore a little bit of the mess because we're cleaning up right now. There's some stuff that was left behind that we've been pulling out of the barn and piling up so we can get it taken off. So basically from the gate, that's going to be the hog gate. You can see that fence there. Then it comes all the way around. We've had all of this finished up, and you can see we need to cut hay. Right now we could probably get 2 or 3 cuttings of hay in this season. And right now this is all going to seed. So we need to cut hay. The people across from us, as you can see, have already cut their hay and had rolls. And we were going to go for square bales. They're just a little bit easier to work with, and they work better in our hay loft. So we've got our hay loft worked up a little bit. So you can see we have all of this hay right now that we need to cut, grass, if you want to say it that way. There's a lot of alfalfa that's mixed in this, as well as what's called brome here. So we've got all of that going on. We've got all of our fencing put in for this section. So it basically goes from the barn here at the corner all the way up to the house. And we left our stock trailer in here because we can pull it out through the gate. And we have a new gate over here. It was basically a repurposed gate from the property already. And it's pretty cool because it's an iron gate, very old. So we brought it over here to this section. We got some new hinges put on it and some new fasteners, and made a gate out of it. Then we also covered it with chicken wire like we did the other one, so that way animals can't go through it. So here we are with our new gate, and it's pretty cool because it's not super huge, but it is super heavy, very heavy duty gate. And you can see we just got a chain around it down there, and then we had a new hedge post put in and some brand new fittings on the gate. And then you can see our new fence here. We've also got a new chicken lot that we had built. The chickens don't really stay in it that much. We just open the door and let them out. But we had a couple of hens that were stealing their nests off, so we wanted to get them back laying where they were supposed to. We found the nest where they had stolen off, collected the eggs, and then we had a new fence put in for a new chicken lot. And we've got another lot that we need to make. And also we got our garden fenced as well. So let me show you those right now. Here is some of our new chickens. We had a whole bunch of barred rocks that were given to us. And then we purchased some turkeys, and they are very friendly. So we've got a whole bunch of new chickens out here. A lot of them are Americanas, barred rocks. We have a California something. She was mixed in with all the Americanas, so we just went ahead and brought her home as well. And then we've got some sweetgrass crossed with heritage bronze turkeys. So we have 4 of those, and then we have 2 of the broad-breasted whites. And it ended up with the 2 broad-breasted whites. We have a hen and a tom. So we will more than likely keep them. So here is the garden, and as you can see, it is all fenced up. Fence is a little bit saggy, but it works. Nice big fence, and we got all of the garden planted. So there you can see all of these plants. I had 82 tomato plants, all different varieties. Some are ones that I started from seed, some, and a lot of them are purchased, but we had really good plants that we picked up from Amish, and a whole lot of pepper plants, all kinds of different varieties of pepper plants. And then I planted my corn. I've got popcorn and early sun glow hybrid, which is the one that I use all the time. and also some peaches of cream. And no joke, my corn was up in 4 days. 4 days for the popcorn, 5 days for the early sun glow and peaches and cream. I also planted my beans at the same time, so I'm going to probably run into a little bit of an issue where I'm going to have to put a trellis system because I was running out of time, so I just went ahead and planted beans and corn at the same time. I know you're not really supposed to do that, but we'll see how it goes. It looks like the corn is past the beans quite well, so I think it'll be fine. Um, and then you can see all of the popcorn is up. Had great germination rate on the popcorn. This is Amish popcorn is what they call it. And there is the early sun glow hybrid corn and the peaches and cream, and also rattlesnake pole beans and Kentucky Wonder pole beans, as well as I planted pole beans with my popcorn as well, and that is my half runners. So that'll be, of course, a shorter variety of pole bean. And then I've got all of my eggplants in. I had ended up with 10 eggplants. So I've got all my eggplants in. I have all of my butternut squash, and then I had a bunch of yellow straight neck squash, zucchini, and my red curry squash, and my Boston marrow pumpkins that were given to me by Suburban Homesteader Wyoming/Arizona. Thank you, Sandy, for that. And they all came up, so we're doing great on those. You can see those out there next to the corn. I basically separated the popcorn and the early sun glow with the squash. And then I have cauliflower. Ended up not being able to find any broccoli, and the broccoli plants that I had were some of the ones that unfortunately did not make it in the move. So I'm unfortunately not going to have broccoli this season unless I get the seeds started and I do a fall planting. So I've got red cabbage. I've got some of the Mammoth Rock cabbage, as well as red acre cabbage, and I have some Stonehead cabbage, Copenhagen cabbage, late flat Dutch, and a whole lot of cauliflower. Some of them are multiple colors. I've got orange, green, purple, all kinds of different colors, yellow of cauliflower. My sweet potatoes that I had started all did wonderfully. So I've got those planted. They're just now starting to kind of take off. I've got all of my collards and my lettuce and beets, rutabaga, and just all kinds, kale. All of that has been planted. Some of it is up, some is not yet. They've just been planted as of a couple of days ago. And then all of my carrots came up. So I have an entire row of carrots of all different varieties. And these are 32-foot rows. So I have 32 feet of carrots. And then I have another bunch of cabbages. These are the plants that I had started. So I have a whole bunch of different varieties of cabbage through there. Some are Mammoth Rock, Red Rock, and then some are, I want to say Stonehead or Danish Ballhead cabbage. So I have a whole bunch of those. And then I had 3 rows of onions. All of those came up. All of these are a Pentium 2 and I think Stuttgart onions. So I have all of those, and then I have all of my Kennebec potatoes. Look at those potatoes. The potatoes were up, no joke, in 5 days. I was shocked. I've never had that happen. It usually takes about 10 days or more for my potatoes to come up, but no, 5 days, they were up. They were ready to go. So were my onions. The onions were up within 24 hours. My carrots were up in like 7 days, completely unheard of. Usually it takes up to 21 days for my carrots to ever come up. The soil here is fantastic. I ended up having to expand. So you can see we have the fence here. And then I ended up having to expand because we ran out of room. And I still have not planted cucumbers. I still have not planted sunflowers and flowers. And I have a whole bunch more potatoes, seed potatoes that are supposed to be arriving on the truck with my partner. And I said, you know what, let's go ahead and grow every potato that was sprouted that I had. of the 200 pounds of potatoes that were still left. So I'm going to chit all of those and get those in the ground as well. So we are going to have a load of potatoes. So you can see all that. And I have plum trees that are hanging full of plums right now. Let me show you those. Take a look at that. Loaded, just loaded with fruit. And I have blackberry vines that are absolutely loaded with fruit, as well as some raspberry vines. So we have all of this going on. And here's the chickens following me around. I'm not worried about fencing off this area because we'll be planting potatoes in here. And they don't pay any attention to the potatoes at all. The most that they will do is try to get in here and dust bathe. But I'm thinking if I till them up a little area off to themselves, they will more than likely use that and kind of leave this alone. They don't really venture out here too much, but look at this huge area. This is going to be probably 34 feet, and it's only about 10 feet wide, but I will get probably another 4 rows of potatoes in there. And then I've tilled up an area beside of my porches for all of my flowers, but this garden is massive. And it keeps expanding. And then we still have all of our containers that we're going to be drilling holes in and getting those full of soil and getting our strawberries in there. We have a whole bunch of strawberries to plant, some that I have brought with me, some that I have purchased, and all kinds of stuff that's still going on here at the homestead. So welcome to Missouri Crooked Barn Homestead. If you haven't been here before, I moved here from Cheyenne, Wyoming, where I had been for 9 years gardening and proving that you could grow food in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And we wished to expand and do some market gardening and be able to be sustainable. So that is what we did. We moved to Missouri, where we got a little bit better of some gardening area. We really did our research. We looked at all the properties that we were looking at, made sure of what had really good soil, more of an older homestead with some outbuildings and things like that, and then we moved here. And so that is our new homestead. It's a little messy right now as we establish everything, and we are bone exhausted, but so happy and grateful to be here. And we got an offer on our Cheyenne home, the Victorian house back in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So the house is under contract. So there you go. Life is getting a lot different. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notices on new videos as they come out. Here comes another one of the turkeys. And we will see you in the next video.